Well, welcome back on this Tilt Right Friday. At our table today is Nick Phillips, the political director of the Clark County Republican Party. Welcome. Good to have you here on What's Your Point?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How long have you been the political director?
Just over a year. July 17th last year is when we were all elected as officers for the party.
And what is the main role of the political director, so that way our viewers understand?
Sure.
what you
As
do?
the political director, I'm responsible for dealing with data on a day-to-day basis, coordinating and talking with candidates about what's going on. I've also taken on the role of talking to the media in a lot of cases and dealing with press releases and going on a few interviews here and there as well.
And you've been great, just to let you know. I mean, every time I have a question or need something, you're always there. So
Great, absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely.
That helps my job. Now, I just want to get right into the big meat and potatoes, if we could.
Sure.
Let's talk about the platform changes. That was a big ordeal when that happened. It happened on the state level, and then it happened also on the local level.
First, it started with the county. So back in March, we had a change to the county platform. And the change was simply that we removed the stance on gay marriage. There was initially an anti-gay marriage stance inside of the platform, as well as there was an anti-abortion platform plank in the platform. And the issue here really was, and the reason why it made it through and was actually voted in by the county party in convention, was that it wasn't representative of the entirety of Republicans here in Clark County. So there's some Republicans that are definitely pro-life, and there's definitely some Republicans that are pro-choice. There are definitely some Republicans that are against gay marriage, and there's others that are for it, or from a liberty standpoint, think that it's really not the government's business. What is big government doing getting involved in our personal, private, religious lives where it's not really, their place? So
I mean, these are two pretty big social issues that have always been a part of the Republican platform, and it still remains in the national platform.
Sure.
So do you think that hurt Nevada at all on the national level?
I think that it's really representative of Nevada. We're here, we're in Nevada, we're about liberty, we're about personal freedom. There's a lot of people who move here for tax reasons and income reasons and opportunity, and having those things in there aren't exactly, they don't work for everyone. So we want to have a big tent, we want to be welcoming to everybody. We've got, the Log Cabin Republicans here in town. They've got a chapter statewide, and they're very active and involved with us. And for them, obviously, that's one thing.
Well, you did get criticism. I mean, some in the national party thought this was really the wrong way to go, that you should not have taken this out, and that you really caved.
In fact, I spoke with their evangelical coordinator, who's part of the outreach program, and they told me that they were not too thrilled with that decision.
There's definitely a population out there that's very upset with us. We did get some, heat from some people. I know Diana Orrick got, a little bit of stuff going on.
The National Committee woman, correct?
And she had a little bit of issue in a committee meeting, I guess a couple months ago now.
Do you think that hurt our chances at all in getting the convention?
Well, we're not getting the convention. We withdrew for now, but so that could have been part of it. But no, I just think that we weren't prepared for it, and it's not there.
And it doesn't look like, I mean, one of the reasons we withdrew is that we could not guarantee the national party to kind of take the convention center offline for the month or so that they needed. Doesn't that rule us out until we get an arena? I mean, a standalone arena that we could kind of
until we're ready, until there's the space that can deal with the media and deal with the skyboxes and deal with all that stuff for a long period of time. Yes. However, Vegas, we're about business. We're about having conventions here, and to be able to say, hey, we're going to shut down just for this. We've got millions of people coming here every single year, so it's kind of a toss-up. We're
going to take a break. We're going to have more with Nick Phillips from the Clark County Republican Party after this. Very good places to go rock climbing. Anyway, welcome back. Don't mind us. We're just having a conversation. We're here with Nick Phillips, the political director of the Clark County Republican Party. Again, you're our guest. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Let's mix some national talk with some local talk, and let's discuss the Tea Party. Rory loves to knock the Tea Party.
Sure.
Of course, the Tea Party, we view them as people who adhere to the Constitution, plain and simple. But it seems that on a national level, a number of races are actually going to more moderate candidates. Not all, but a nice chunk of them. Do you feel that happening here locally with the upcoming elections?
You have to really look at each district itself and what people live in that district and how they believe, right? If you look at certain districts and certain candidates nationally, say, that make the news a lot, they live in areas where there's a lot of people who allow them to act that way, and they'll be reelected because, they are able to do that. In other areas, it's much more moderate. Here in Nevada, of course, as we all know, the voter registration numbers tell us that there are, more liberal Democrats in town, so there is more of a moderation. in
They
a lot of
actually had more
districts.
nonpartisans.
There's a huge.
register.
That's true. There's
Right.
a lot. The nonpartisan
Let
group
me ask
is
you
growing
this
very
question.
fast.
I mean, if you look at the poll ratings of the different parties, the Republican Party's at rock bottom, Democrats just a couple points ahead of the Republican Party. They're both abysmal. But do you think the Tea Party has really helped or hurt the image of the Republican Party?
It depends on the position, right? In certain areas, again, it's going to really help. If you look at Marco Rubio and Rand Paul and some of the, the national celebrities on that front, they're able to take some of those things and really run with them, and it's positive for them in their races and everything. For us here locally, the Tea Party isn't out there going nuts and going crazy and doing all sorts of things that are really that bad. They're part of the community. They're here. They're involved. They're in churches. They're out of churches. They're involved in clubs and organizations in the party, and a lot of them are very active, and they're out there to help better the community and the place in which they live, and that's a huge positive front here.
Now, we have another group that's in Nevada's Republican Party, and we have a lot of libertarian-minded
Sure.
Republicans. And we've reported on this before, where the chairman had filed a lawsuit against one of the libertarian-minded
Yeah.
individuals, and the judge actually threw it out and found it frivolous. With that happening, and those certain individuals who disagree with the chairman now not being allowed to attend the meetings, do you find
There's an individual.
just Ann? Just one person?
There's a single individual in that case, and it's an unfortunate situation where there's some history going back for many years beyond just Dave and that person, and it's just kind of this back and forth that's been going on for years. And
So by not allowing this individual to participate, I mean, do you think that's going to help or hurt the overall vision of unity in our party? And we like to talk about the big tent.
Sure. Short term, it seems like it was the will of the party. There was a vote. It wasn't just the
there was a
chairman.
vote.
Yeah, it wasn't just the
that's good to know.
chairman. Said, "Hey, you're out of here." Certainly, he helped with that. But there was a vote.
Can you name this
Interesting.
person, or is this like some big secret?
Oh, it's not a secret.
No, it's not a secret. It was Carl Bunce.
Yeah, Carl
right,
Bunce.
Yeah,
exactly.
who
So-
ran Ron Paul's Nevada
exactly.
statewide
Right.
campaign.
But there's a bigger issue here, and your party at times has not been one big happy family here in Nevada.
you can say that for Democrats.
You
too.
can definitely
Sure,
say
of
that,
course
yeah.
you can. Of course you can. But more on the Republicans, I might say. I mean, the Ron Paul, establishment schism here. I mean, where does your party sit at this point? I mean,
Well,
is it
and I have an answer for
kumbaya?
that,
I mean,
too.
is it you getting back together again? Give me a sense.
There's a few outliers that are very upset on both sides of the board, but by and large, most of us are all getting along. And there's a lot of labels, being thrown around. I've been called establishment. I've been called Tea Party.
Right.
I've been called all sorts of things. Where really I came into politics from a position where I just started to learn about it a few years ago and said, "Oh, wait a second, this really affects my life. I really need to pay attention as a young person because I've got a lot of years to deal with the consequences of what does and doesn't happen here." So there's all these labels being thrown around, and really it's outliers. There's a few people who are very upset. It's not a large majority of people. There's much more, tens of thousands more registered Republicans.
And I like to think of Republicans as people who are very vocal, who have very firm opinions and stances, whereas the Democrats are, very good at being sheep and following one another. So
Absolutely.
there you have it.
And there's been times where some of that camp, quote unquote, let's say, would disagree with us adamantly, and then we'd circle back around and say, "Hey, look, we actually are better and stronger as a party for having these candid discussions and getting this stuff out amongst each other, so that when it comes down to what we really care about, the fiscal conservatism, the liberty, the keeping big government out of our lives." That's what's really important.
And
we can all
let's
circle
talk
back
about
there.
some of the things that the county's actually doing and moving in the right direction and being successful, because you guys are very active on social media with Twitter and Facebook. You recently held an event last night to
Yeah.
educate people on how to improve the school system. I mean, give us a list of things that you guys are working on.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on. Number one, last night, let you mention Mark Riggins. He's one of our board members. I think he's from District E, and he's also a member of the NEA. And as a member and a teacher and everything, he's able to really talk to education and what's going on with it and answer questions for the community. So we've got several educational series about education that's going on. We've got in a couple of weeks coming up another one where we've got several people who have moved here from other countries and have become Republicans, and they're going to talk about their experiences and why they've chosen the Republican Party.
Excellent.
And that kind of thing. We're also doing precinct trainings and getting volunteers educated through our grassroots education training GET right, get together, and we're doing those regularly so that people can learn about what's going on in the community, how they can be involved, what they can do, and how they can help the
Real
community.
quick, let's talk about some state races. You've got the lieutenant governor's race between
Yep.
Lucy Flores and Mark Hutchison, for example. I mean, the whole Reed machine's going to pour everything they got behind Lucy Flores. How do you see that race shaping up for you guys?
I think we've got a great shot at it. Mark is a fantastic candidate. He's got a lot of wonderful things going for him. Lucy Flores, you know, she didn't have a lot of time in the,
On our third campaign manager, obviously doesn't
Right.
work well with others.
Yep, and you know, when she goes on TV and she talks to the media and she talks in person, you know, she sounds great sometimes, but she doesn't have a lot of content and a lot of substance behind what it is that she's saying. Mark has all this experience and he's really been there and he's been around.
You guys going to recapture the state senate?
I think so.
Real quick, before you go, I got to ask this question, if I can. Outreach to Hispanics. I mean, you've got a part of your party right now is saying secure the border, and the whole Central American surge. You've got GOP presidential candidates going, hey, wait a minute, we need to really soften our tone and reach out. Do you worry that you're alienating Hispanic voters, given what's going on right now with the Central American immigrants and that type of thing?
The media and a lot of people make a big deal about it, but when it comes down to reality, most immigrants who come here, my wife is an immigrant. She immigrated here from another country. And the ones that are here, that came here legally, that followed the law and went through that process legally, they understand that they had to go through something that some people are not having to go through, and that's not really fair. Now, from a national standpoint, I personally focus more on local. I care more about what's going on here.
Sure.
But from a national standpoint, we really need to look at the entirety of the thing. It's not just secure the borders, enforce the laws. It's really, there's problems that exist that are causing people to come over illegally, and those need to be addressed properly.
But even though you're national, I mean, when 2016 rolls around and we get a presidential year going on, you're going to have to figure out a way to reach out and speak to the Hispanic voters here.
And
The
we do that.
Republicans do have a presence, right.
We do have a presence. There is a big reach, you know, in that. Brian Sandoval, of course, you know, he's loved very much by the Hispanic community here in Nevada. We've got, you know, from a local standpoint, we've got tons of community outreach into groups and organizations within the Hispanic community. I mean, that's been going on for a long time. We're out there. We've got
Plus, they're
people on
very
the ground.
family-oriented. They're hardworking, just like Republicans.
Yep.
So there you have it.
Hardworking. Many of them are religious and they follow, you know, that kind of thing, which.
Because you are a guest, you need to cut you off, by the way, you get the last point. We're going to take a break. Back with our guest after this.
Thanks.
All right, welcome back. Our guest today, Nick Phillips, the political director of the Clark County Republican Party. Again, thank you for being on our
Yes,
program.
thank
Thank you so much for having me on.
You get the last point because you are the guest. What would you like to tell?
All right, well, really, we're very excited this year. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of ways to get involved with the county party, with campaigns, and everything that we're doing. You can go to our website at www.clarkgop.org and go to the events section if you'd like to get involved. There's lots of volunteer opportunities, educational sessions, everything that you want to do. You can get involved with us, follow us on social media, and that's about it.
And you're probably feeling pretty good about 2014.
Very excited about 2014. A lot of opportunity for us.
Lots of great candidates to go out and support. We have. Okay, I
You
have
got
something to say. I just wanted to go ahead and let my father-in-law, Jerry Tarkanian, have a very happy birthday. I love you dearly, and I appreciate everything that you've done for me and my family. He's 84 today, so happy birthday.
84, and you know, Tark always looks great. I've never seen a bad picture of Tark, by the way.
He's always smiling.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. And hey, Jerry, happy birthday. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching us today. Thank you for coming on
Thank
the
you very
program.
much.
Really a
Thanks
pleasure
a lot.
having you here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Back here on Monday. Have a good weekend. Take care.